Welcome to my 6.5-inch budget shootout between the Kenwood and the Hertz. Kenwood's pretty well $49.99, the Hertz is $129.99, and I want to see if this one is really worth 3 times the price. But to be fair and do a good comparison, I'm going to bring in the MTX speakers at roughly $99. Are you ready to jump into specs? We're going to do a listening test, then we're going to do a head-to-head comparison, and then I'm going to give you a bonus if you stick around to the end. All right, let's jump right in.
Round 1, fight!
Alright, let's start off with the Kenwood. Now, one thing I will say with the Kenwoods is, yes, they're the starting point, which is say at $49. But the one thing I find tough is this. Okay? 300 watts. I'm going to keep calling it out by every manufacturer, but it is not a 300 watt speaker. What this actually is 30 watts. So it's rating it kind of like when the moon's in line with Earth and the wind's blowing right, it says 300 watts. Now, don't get me wrong, could I throw 300 watts? Yeah, maybe for about 5 or 10 seconds before it burns out, so keep that in mind. The Kenwood is a great OEM equivalent. Let's jump right into it. Now, the one nice thing you'll notice right away is you're going to see it's very thin profile, which I really like because it fits into an OEM hole. Also, too, you'll notice that the tweeter, I'm going to bring it up here, right there, doesn't stick out past the cone. Because what happens in a lot of cars is you go to mount it to a panel and the tweeter sticks out. We'll see if any of the other competitors do that. But it makes it so it can't fit flush behind a panel. Now, the Kenwood does have a polypropylene cone, which is good for being water resistant. It's kind of a tried and true. They also have a kind of a woven surround. And, you know, your standard, and I'm going to go here, speaker leads on the back, okay? It is a decent little speaker all the way around. And, you know, if you have a blown speaker or you just want OEM equivalent, this is a great little one. But the also one thing to keep in mind is the efficiency. Now, the efficiency is how loud it is. So, and to keep it really easy, if I put 1 watt in, how loud it's going to be. This one is I put 1 watt in, it's going to be 90 dB out, okay? Some of the other competitors are a little bit different in it, and it only really affects when it gets greater than what's called 3 dB, because the difference in me talking like this and then talking like this is 3 dB. All right, let's jump right into the MTX. All right, the MTX Thunder 65s. One thing you're going to notice right away is a very different size in the magnet, okay? Bear with me. I'm just going to show this, and then I'm going to go this way. You'll see a lot larger magnet. Does it really mean the end-all, beat-all? But what happens, though, is that this has 60 watts of power handling. Regardless of what it says in the box, RMS value is 60 watts. So this can be used with an amplifier, which, you know what, I really like the expansion of that, because that's the one thing with the Kenwood. See, most OEM systems operate between, say, 8 and 20 watts, so that's where the Kenwood comes into play. But now if I want to go more power, the MTX comes into play. Now you'll notice slightly different things. It has these little, and I call them nib tabs, so it fits a little bit different in some cars, but it is all around a good, decent looking speaker. I do like the polypropylene cone. It does have the tweeter. Now it does say it moves. I can't figure out how it does. And I want to bring out one little extra item is this. When you go to the back, you'll see one is red and one is black. I really like this. This is a feature that I'll show you on the Hertz. I really like this because when you're in a car and you're trying to hook it up and you can't see that well because it's dark, I can see the red. Red is positive. You can't make a mistake. Love it. Now, the one thing, too, also, is that the MTX comes with this ring. And what this is a sandwich. So if you're mounting it to a panel or like in the rear deck, or maybe you have an older car with like where it's like kind of a thin 1/4 inch thick board, or maybe just plastic, what happens is, I'm just going to use the grill for an example, but you mount this behind, so when you screw it, it cinches on there and gives you something a little bit more solid to mount to, instead of just making it, say, attached to the cardboard. Now, I already alluded to it, and one nice thing too is that the MTX comes with a grill. And so, you know, it's a decent little grill. I'm going to go over top. You know, there we go. Bring it towards, nice little grill. But I did forget one thing with the Kenwood. The Kenwood also, at the $49 price tag, came with a Kenwood nice little different kind of grill as well. I like the little things, guys, because if you need it, you need it. If you don't, you don't. If I go to put this MTX in and I needed a grill and I have to buy a grill, that could be $40, $50. Same with the Kenwood, okay? Same with this one. If I pay $50 for this unit, why would I want to pay $50 for a grill? Nice to know this comes in the box on their 6.5, all right? Now, the 129 Hertz. kind of our benchmark for this test, all right? Going on the same idea, they have the same idea as they have the red and the black. Like I said, I really like that. Also, too, little things or big things, you'll notice that both these connectors are the same size, okay? So it means I don't need extra ones. I'm just going to zoom in. Now, I'll use this as an example. With the Kenwood, you see one's big, one's small. Pretty typical of most speakers, by the way. Now, Kenwood does come with these little connectors in the box. I like when I only have to have one. Small things, big things, and the color. You'll also notice one thing, too. I'm just going to go here. Now, same idea as I'm going to go here, and you're going to notice the tweeter does not stick out past the front as well. That's what I like to see because I know it's going to fit in anything. Now, I talked about efficiencies earlier, okay? The Kenwood was 90, the MTX is 91, and this one is 93. So going back to my analogy really quick, if I do 1 watt into it, how loud it's going to be. At a higher volume, it's the difference between talking like this and talking like this in that demonstration. But instead of, if I was giving it 20 watts or 30 watts, then you start to notice a big difference in efficiency. That's what this one's really good for. Also, too, the other two had a polypropylene cone. This one uses a paper cone, which is kind of more known in audiophile speakers, more pure, but it's a paper-coated plastic. And unfortunately, I don't know if I can really show it to you that well, but on the back, you can see that it's woven. You'll have to take my word for it because it's a little hard to see in this case. I sold these for years, okay? The one thing I like about it is it works perfectly with OEM. And a lot of times, you know, when you change your speaker and you go, man, I don't know if that sounds better or worse, the efficiency of this speaker makes it sound better right out of the box. It's really nice to have, and it is a big difference that way. But when we get to the listening test, you let me know it sounds good to you, all right?
Round 2, fight!
This is one thing I want to touch on right away is mounting depth, okay? Yes, my angle's changed quite a bit, but I want you to see something. Now, first off, I'm going to take the Hertz and I'm going to take the Kenwood. Okay. And you'll notice that the Kenwood is almost 3/4 of an inch shallower. Now, why I show this is because regardless of what sounds best, which one you like, it's what one fits in your car. Now, don't get me wrong. You might know some installation staff or you go to a local place where they can make it fit. So, for example, maybe this one, you like the sound of this one, you can make it fit, but there's going to be extra labor dollars. Now, I want to show this too, though, is now if I go into the MTX is, I'm going to call it about 1/2 inch less. Once again, does it fit? Because if I take the Hertz away and I slide the MTX over and I go into the Kenwood is almost 1/2 inch shallower. So keep this in mind, all right? Because in the downloadable PDF I've made for you guys, I've made it so there's a flow chart on how to replace your speakers and the thinking. Now, big thing, number 1, depth. Okay, confirm the size of the speaker and then confirm it fits. There's a lot of fit guides on the internet. I really, really recommend it. Then also too, am I going to add an amplifier? Am I going to amplifier maybe in the future? So keep that in mind, because on one of the questions I got was they said I had a speaker and it sounded really good with deck power, but then when I added an amplifier, it sounded worse. Yes, it happens. Because, now hear me out. This one, like I said, it's 35 watts. And so at 20, 25 watts, it's great. Boom, boom, sounds good. But if I go to 60 watts, it might start to distort. And also, too, if this one's already working all the way, which means it's hitting its maximum output, and you try and drive it past, that's when you get the thunks and the snaps and the farts and the fraps with speakers, okay? That being said, with something like this one, or the Hertz, because they're both 60 watts, this one here, say at 25 or 30 watts, it's only working half as hard. It's not going to its full potential or putting out its full output. So that way, when you add an amplifier, or even if you give it a little bass boost or a little bit of fun, it can do it. That's the biggest difference that people don't understand. So if you think you're ever going to add an amplifier, get one with a higher wattage than your OEM. Also too, if you get one that is a higher wattage, you can actually use things like bass boosts and equalizers and some of the little things in your smartphone a little bit to boost it up a little bit, all right?
Final round, fight!
All right, we're going to start with the Kenwood. I have put it into a rough enclosure because I want to show you something that I don't particularly like that a lot of reviewers do. Okay? Now I'm going to start at the 8-second mark of this song, okay? And I'm going to lift it in and out of this enclosure because I want you to hear what I don't like what most reviewers do is they hold this up. and let you hear it. And I want to show you why, okay? So we're going to do individual tests on the Kenwood, the MTX, the Hertz. You stick around to the end, and I'm going to show you in real time a full song. So I'm going to play it, 10 seconds, switch it all mid-song, all right? So what we're listening for, okay, I'm going to start 10 seconds in on this particular track, is I want you to hear the man's voice. I'll lift it out, so have a listen.
Golden sand, ocean blue, feel the sun.
Does that sound completely different? Watch. So I'm going to cut it off here, and what I'm going to say is any reviewer that holds it up to the phone for you to listen to is doing it wrong. I don't care who you are. You can call me out. Let's get into the debate, okay? I'm going to restart this song.
Keys Islands, beautiful breeze. Keys Islands, tropical vibes. Keys Islands, so nice, so free.
Let's jump into the MTX next. Alright, now on the MTXs, I want to show you something. Okay, so you see how this connector is right here. I'm going to zoom in. My first negative. And not a pun either. I can't get the connector on there because it's too close to the magnet. I'm going to have to bend it out. A little bit of a pain in my butt right there. Alright, give me 2 secs. I'll come right back. Alright, MTX Thunder 65s. Now, I got big hopes for this one. Now, keep in mind, the Kenwood is half the price. At $49 for the Kenwood, this one is equivalently is $99. Alright? I think we have some bass.
Golden sand, ocean blue, feel the sun. We have the fun.
So you start to see the bigger difference with a bigger magnet, and you start to see a little bit of difference in, I don't want to say in efficiency, but it's a totally different tweeter, but same cone as the Kenwood. But now I think you're starting to see is how the suspension works. This is a 60 watt speaker. That was a 30 watt speaker. All right, you kind of get the ideas. Let's jump right into the Hertz and then stick around to the end, and I'm going to play them all in real time so you can hear the difference. All right. Lastly, the $129 Hertz Dieci 165s. Now, this one, where I think you're going to hear it more in the real world test, where I'm going to show you all the music playing all at the same time, the efficiency difference, but stick around to the end. I know, guys, but I want to make sure I'm giving you an individual testing, and then I also want to give you a full inline testing, all right? Already sounds fuller.
Golden sand, ocean blue, feel the sun. We have the fun.
So with this one, now with the MTX, it had more bass. It did, okay? It hands down. But you can hear kind of a fuller voice here, and you're not seeing so much deviation between the woman and the man's voice because they're reproducing it quite well. I'm really excited about the efficiency, but so far, I gotta say, sounds a lot better than the Kenwood, but let's see when it goes head to head with the MTX and the Hertz to find out which one sounds better.
Golden sand, ocean blue, feel the sun. We have the fun. Keys Islands, beautiful breeze. Keys Islands, tropical vibes. Keys Islands, so nice, so free. Keys
always like to give you guys a little bit of an extra bonus, okay? And one thing I want to go over just real briefly, regardless of the speaker you use, when this mounts into a surface, you want to make sure it's airtight. I'm going to go forward, okay? This is just a gas sitting tape. And you can see it's roughly about 1/8 of an inch thick. And what you do is you take it and you just put it around the outside of the speaker. You kind of get the idea, okay? It's actually very, very important. And a lot of times people say I operated the speaker and it sounded worse. There's going to be usually a foam gasket on the OEM speaker. And what that is here is they'll have like a little foam gasket. And why is because you want to seal this front to back. Just like I was showing you when I pulled the Kenwood out of the box and put the Kenwood back in, it's the same thing for the front of the driver as well. So what you can get is little gaskets like this, and you can see, squishy, squishy. All right, and what it does is it just goes around the speaker. And that way when you put the factory panel over top of it, it creates a gasket, seals it front to back, doubling your bass. All right, any questions? Reach out to me. I'll see what I can do for you, and be sure to look at my download section on this video, and I have a flow chart of what to do to upgrade your speakers. All right, which one did you like better? Did you like the polypropylene cone of the Kenwood, the 35 watt one, or did you like the MTX with the tweeter that's a little bit sticky outy, but it has the polypropylene cone as well, plus the little extra tabs that I love? But what did you like? What did you like? Who sounds better to you? Let me know below. Did you like the Kenwood or did you like the MTX at this point? You let me know down below. Or did you like the Hertz? All right. So I asked you Kenwood or MTX. Now what about Hertz and MTX? Which one did you like better? 3 speakers sound completely different because they're made from different materials and they're made for working at different wattages. So that is the funny thing. A lot of people don't understand that you can customize the sound by using your speakers. So if you have a radio and you have it sounding a certain way, you can make it sound what's right for you and catering to your tastes in music. That's what's amazing. That's why I'm trying to show you all 3 of these speakers. They sound completely different for different reasons. Are you going for, I want a louder podcast? Do I want more bass? Do I want more techno? That's the beauty of speakers and what materials can do for you, all right?
Fatality.
All right, making the call. I actually do think the Kenwood did do very well. For $49, it's better than a stock speaker. It did produce some highs, it did produce some lows, it does come with a grill. It was pretty decent. As I am going to call a winner to the Hertz. I'm going to tell you why. With the Hertz, the efficiency was number 1, but also the fullness of the sound, of being a very distinct, different sound of hearing the words and the lyrics. One caveat. At $99, the MTX one I liked because of the bass. Reason being, I listen to old rock, which doesn't have a lot of bass. I'm going to say, if you're old like me and like more like the AC/DCs, the Black Crowes, the Iron Maiden, this one for $99 I think is the one for you. If you listen to podcasts, you want to have a little bit more volume, and you want to listen to a full range of music, the Hertz did it, guys. Number 1 for the Hertz at $129 today. If you are car audio obsessed like me, I would please encourage you to like and subscribe. I would appreciate it. And also too, I have a little podcast on the side, and I like to find out who the little hoarders out there are, and who the people who have a little kind of weird when it comes to car audio, but I want to talk to those people. I want to see what makes them tick, what they like about car audio. So hey, send me the information, and I'll catch you on my next video. And if you like this video, and you want to hear the not so budget, right about here, we're going to move on to the next video, which is another 6.5 inch shootout, but not starting at $49 and $99. It goes up from there, starting $99 and up.